right? And the appearance of Radha Raman ji, deity. The Radha Raman, the very famous deity in Sri Vrindavan, very beautiful, exquisite, small deity, who appeared self-manifest by the desire of his pure devotee, Gopal Bhatta Goswami, who gathered a shaligram shila while he was traveling in Gandaki. And he thought it would be nice to worship a form of the Lord, a Tribangi form, because one wealthy person gave him some donation, and amongst those things there was some jewelry and some clothes. And he said, "But I don't have a deity." So he was thinking like that. Rupa has a deity, and others have deities. And that was on Nrsimha Chaturdasi. He was thinking. And in the morning, that's today, 500 something years ago, then to his surprise he found the shaligram had transformed into a beautiful deity, small. Or some say there was more than one shaligram. But on the back of the deity, I've heard, on the shoulder of the deity, you can still see a chakra which was on the shaligram. That would be the... So very, very beautiful deity. Very attractive. And also the appearance of Srinivasa Acharya is very outstanding Acharya in our line, Gaudiya Vaishnava Sampradaya. Studied under Srila Jiva Goswami in Vrindavan. He was instrumental in bringing the books of the Goswamis. They copied all the Goswamis' books. They brought them to the east side of India, and they were stolen on the way. While they were sleeping, some bandits came and stole the books. They're actually stolen by the king of that area, Vishnupur, King Birhambir, who boosted his treasury by looting wealthy merchants when they were passing through. He had an astrologer or tantric who could tell when someone was carrying money, wealth. So he was told there's a group of people coming. They have very, very great treasure. They had these boxes of books. They have a very great wealth there, because that was spiritual wealth. Anyway, so they took those books, stole them. They thought it was jewelry. When the king opened and he saw they were books, he felt a bit bad, because they were sacred books. But he was reading. He was a devotee, so he was reading. He liked them. So Srinivas, he stayed behind to try to relocate the books while the others went on to their various designations. And eventually he heard that the king used to hear the Bhagavat every day. They would hear Bhagavatam. So Srinivas went to the court to hear the Bhagavatam. And by his questions and appearance, they could understand that he was a very, very learned person. So they asked, would you like to read from the Bhagavatam? And then he gave his explanations, which were very high. Yeah, very impressive. He just been studying under Jiva Goswami, so they got so much enlightenment from hearing that. The king was amazed. He said, "Please, you stay here." So he became friendly with the king. Then he asked the king, "But I have a task actually," and he told him about the books. Then the king admitted that actually he had stolen. He had them stolen in mistake for material wealth. But the good part is, then the king had different scribes come and translate the books, copy the books, because there was no printing machines in those days. There was no copy paste. It was all done by hand on palm leaves. If you had, they could have paper also, some of them. So then that was an actual blessing in disguise, because then they had a lot of copies made of each book. So that resolved that dilemma. Another appearance today? Parameshwara Puri, Parameshwara Das. He's one of the Dwarasa Gopals of Lord Nityananda. Simply by hearing his name, one can achieve love of Godhead. You say, then I'll get love of Godhead. I want. Okay, Srimad Bhagavatam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. It's reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 11, entitled The Childhood Pastimes of Krishna, text 51 through 57, if I can remember rightly. 57 is a purport. We'll read from 57. Well, there's a big problem. Aho Brahma Vidambacho. Aho Brahma Vidambacho. Nasayatya Santi Karhischit. Nasyata Shantikarichit. Gargo Yadaha Bhagavan. Gargo Yadaha Bhagavan. Anamavi Tataivatat. Anvabhavi Tataivatat. Aho Brahma Vedambacho. Nasatya Shantikarichit. Gagoyadaha Bhagavan. Annabhavi Tataivatat. Aho Brahma Vedambacho. Nasatya Shantikarichit. Gargo Yadaha Bhagavan. Anhavi Tataivatat. Aho! How wonderful it is! Brahmavidam, of persons who have full knowledge of Brahman. Transcendence. Bhaccha, the words, na, never. Asatya, untruth. Santi, become. Karhishchit, at any time. Gargaha, Gargamuni, yet, whatever. Aha, predicted. Bhagavan, Gargamuni, the most powerful. And Bhavi is exactly happening. Tata eva, as, that. Translation. The words of persons in full knowledge of Brahman never becomes untrue. It is very wonderful that whatever Gargamuni predicted, we are now actually experiencing in all detail. I'll start from 51, then we can come back and do this in the purport also. There are also other little purports. The text 51, translation. Sorry? We didn't do 50. Okay. Oh, it's purple there. Text 50. Krishna, who was the father of Lord Brahma, but who was acting as the son of a cowherd man, became like fire, burning the root of the demon's throat, and the demon Bakasura immediately disgorged him. When the demon saw that Krishna, although having been swallowed, was unharmed, he immediately attacked Krishna again with his sharp beak. Purport. Although Krishna is always as soft as a lotus, within the throat of Bakasura, he created a burning sensation of being hotter than fire. Although Krishna's whole body is sweeter than sugar candy, Bakasura tasted bitterness and therefore immediately vomited. Krishna up. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 4.11, Yayatamam papadyante tam stathaiva bhajamyaham. When Krishna is accepted as an enemy, he becomes the most intolerable object for the non-devotee, who cannot tolerate Krishna within or without. Here, this is shown by the example of Bakasura. Krishna is very fair. He says, Ye yatamam prabhadyante tam sathaiva bhajamyaham. However you approach me, I will reciprocate. So if someone is favorable towards Krishna, then he becomes favorable towards that person. Whatever way that whatever feelings they have for Krishna, then Krishna reciprocates those particular feelings. So if you so for the purport, Prabhupada is saying, although Krishna is as soft as a lotus, because this is Bhagavatam is a book for devotees. So then when they're writing about Krishna, they're glorifying Krishna. And Krishna is always as soft as a lotus. But because because Baka was approaching him to kill him, to swallow Krishna, then although Krishna was softer than butter, he became hotter than fire. Although his body is sweet, Baka tasted very, very bitter. Couldn't tolerate, he had to vomit immediately. So just see, this is Krishna's reciprocation. Krishna is very fair, very good, very fair person. But he makes a rule. So as you reciprocate, as you approach me, I will reciprocate. So Krishna said, he's not approaching us. Krishna didn't ask us to come to the material world. That was our idea, to have a different relationship or a different mentality than what Krishna and everyone else has in the spiritual world. So with that different mentality, that separatist mentality, then Krishna creates a place, a playground, not exactly a playground, but the material world, where we can try and live out our strange desires, to try to be happy without Krishna. So Krishna gives a chance. You want to be happy without me. Actually, you can't. So therefore, I'll cover your knowledge. I'll cover your intelligence, and I'll put you in a place, a make-believe place, where you can actually try and live out your dream that you can be happy without Krishna. Welcome to the material world. So, and then we're trying to become great. We can't become the most of everything. At the end, we just pass through the different bodies, go through the different 6 changes, back again, and take another body. Do the same thing again and again and again. But Krishna says that's what you want. You want to be. You got an impossible desire there to be like me in the material world. To be without me, it's an impossible desire, because Krishna says, like pearls on a thread, everything is connected to him. He's the thread that holds everything together. So you can't actually exist without Krishna. But because we had a different mentality, then Krishna arranges this world of Maya, that we can, that remembrance of Krishna, of our relationship with him, is actually forgotten. So then we can try to live our own independent life. This is called Maya. And but although he's for Baka, then Krishna's body wasn't soft as butter. His experience wasn't like that. It was hard as anything, and it burning. It was terrible, and it was bitter. Because Krishna's body is very sweet. Well, not for Baka, it was bitter. So is it bitter or is it sweet? Is Krishna bitter or is he sweet? It's a question. He's everything. He's the most bitter and he's the most sweet. Right? He's the source of everything. Everything is coming from him. So if you're coming with a bitter mentality, then Krishna will reciprocate. You want to know what bitterness is? Take this. His body became very bitter, and you have to immediately disgorge him, pick him up. He couldn't. So they cannot. Krishna, when Krishna is accepted as an enemy, they cannot accept Krishna. It's inside or out. So when an enemy approaches Krishna, immediately there's great fear. Spontaneously, there's great fear, somehow or other. Putana experienced that when she saw Krishna. First thing she thought, this child can kill me. Little baby. So if you're approaching him like that, then Krishna reciprocates. So first you get that vibration, that reaction, reflection from Krishna. You're coming to kill him, and wow, Krishna's reciprocating. Oh, this child could kill me. So it's up to, Krishna says it's up to you. What do? You make this first step, and Krishna will reciprocate. So you want Krishna, you want to experience Krishna as sweet as sugar candy, or you want to experience him like cyanide, poison. But Krishna's free, Krishna's open. I don't mind what relationship you want. Take little variety. Okay, text 51. Translation. When Krishna, the leader of the Vaishnavas, saw that the demon Bakasura, the friend of Kamsa, was endeavoring to attack him with his arms, he captured the demon by the two halves of the beak, and in the presence of all cowherd boys, Krishna very easily bifurcated him. As a child splits a blade of virana grass. By thus killing the demon, Krishna very much pleased the denizens of heaven. Krishna is very small, Baka was very big, like a heron bird. Krishna, when he came to Krishna again, Krishna just grabbed his beak and split his mouth in half. So how did little Krishna manage to split that Bakasura beak? He probably did it at the end. Just like Brahmandev was a little boy, he put his foot over up above the three worlds, although he was a little boy. So Krishna very easily split this big duck monster in two, and the denizens of heaven were very, very pleased. This is called the childhood pastimes of Krishna. Daily events like this used to happen for the pleasure of his devotees. Krishna says he's God in Bhagavad Gita. Right? So he's got to show he's God also, otherwise why should you believe him? Anyone can say that, like people do, right? I am God, you are God, everyone is God. Prabhupada said it's a Bhagavan, an incarnation on every corner. Especially in India. So many avatars here. So many incarnations. Okay, text 52. So he has to show, Krishna has to show that he's God also, not only talk, he has to show it. Otherwise, why should we believe him? Of course, this is the age of Kali, the age of quarrel, age of disagreement. So even if the scriptures say, even if the great sages say, we want to question. That is our disease. But so Krishna is coming to show, coming to prove. He's not just talking, he's walking to talk. And doing his amazing pastimes. Okay, text 52. At that time, the celestial denizens of the higher planetary system showered Malika Pushpa flowers grown in Nanda Kanan, their gardens in the heavenly planets, upon Krishna, the enemy of Bakasura. They also congratulated him by sounding celestial kettle drums and conch shells and by offering prayers. Seeing this, the cowherd boys were struck with wonder. They're struck with wonder that Krishna whipped this monster's beak, or the demigods, I guess. They're struck with wonder seeing all these celestial heavenly beings in the sky showering flowers on our Krishna. Well, they already saw Manigriva, Nalakuvara Manigriva heavenly appear from the tree, two celestials, and then go up into the sky. So, but still it was surprising. I guess it would be. It's quite unusual in the material world to see the demigods. Okay, text 53. Just as the senses are pacified when the consciousness and life return, so when Krishna was freed from this danger, all the boys, including Balaram, thought that their life had been restored. They embraced Krishna in good consciousness, and then they collected their own calves and returned to Vrajabhumi, where they declared the incident loudly. Must have been a very fearful situation. That huge duck, heron, appeared before them, ready to gobble them up. But Krishna again saved them. Purport: it was a practice of the inhabitants of Vrajabhumi to compose poetry about the incidents that occurred in the forest when Krishna performed his different activities of killing the asuras. They would compose all the stories in poetry or have this done by professional poets. And then they would sing about these incidents. Thus it is written here that the boys sang very loudly. So this is Smaranam, Kirtanam, Shravanam. This is Shravanam, Kirtanam, Smaranam. They would hear about Krishna's pastimes and they would compose them. Sometimes the gopis, Mother Yasoda, they would compose these songs about Krishna's activities. Or sometimes the Brahmins, the bards, they will actually put it into poetry so that it would be very easy to remember Krishna, and you can all, just like we have this is the Adi bhajans, right? When we sing kirtans, bhajans, glorifying Krishna. So it's coming from the spiritual world. The Brajbasis do that when Krishna does something wonderful. Then they make it into a song, a poem, then it will last forever. Right? Everyone likes poems and song. So even today, you see 5,000 years later, we're sitting around singing the glories of Krishna's pastimes and his names and his activities. Right? The process works. So it's a way of memorizing also. If you want to memorize something, you can make it into a rhyme or one technique of remembering. Text 54. When the cowherd, men and women, heard about the killing of Bakasura in the forest, they were very much astonished. Upon seeing Krishna and hearing the story, they received Krishna very eagerly, thinking that Krishna and the other boys had returned from the mouth of death. Thus they looked upon Krishna and the boys with silent eyes, not wanting to turn their eyes aside now that the boys were safe. So the boys thought their life had returned when Krishna, then when the elders heard about this incident and the danger of their beloved children, they also felt the same way, that their life had returned. What could have happened? They become also stunned, just gazed on them, on the boys and Krishna. Here, purport: because of intense love for Krishna, the cowherd men and women simply remained silent, thinking how Krishna and the boys had been saved. The cowherd men and women looked upon Krishna and the boys and did not desire to turn their eyes aside. Complete absorption. Who would? If you saw Gopal Krishna and his friends, why would you want to look at anything else? Eh? So enchanting. I remember when when Srila Prabhupada was here in his room in Mayapur, it was like, we said, go up there every day at about 5 o'clock after the day. And I would sit up there in some corner and just being in Prabhupada's presence, just watching him, his gestures and talking and different questions and answers. I felt this is like the perfection of life. I was a new bhakta then. Well, that's just perfection. I was completely satisfied. Krishna sends his representatives to help us, to give us a little experience and taste of what's going on in the spiritual world. Yeah, so they're completely satisfied. They don't want to stop. There's no desire to look anywhere else or see anything else except for Krishna. Text 55. The cowherd man, headed by Nanda Maharaj, began to contemplate. It is very astonishing that although this boy Krishna has many times faced many various causes of death, by the grace of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, it was these causes of fear that were killed instead of him. Prabhupada. The cowherd man innocently thought, because our Krishna is innocent, the cause of death that appeared before him, the causes of death that appeared before him were themselves killed instead of Krishna. This is the greatest grace of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So you don't approach a great person in being inimical. It says even if you approach, if you criticize or even think bad of some saintly person, or even say something, then that saintly persons, they don't take it, they don't accept it, but it comes back to you. It bounces back to you because they're not going to get involved. So be careful. You get the reaction. And also if you criticize a person unjustly, then you get their karma, some of their bad karma also. Anyway, they thought he was definitely protected by the Lord. Text 56. Although the causes of death, the daityas, were very fierce, they could not kill this boy Krishna. Rather, because they came to kill innocent boys, as soon as they approached, they themselves were killed, exactly like flies attacking a fire. Prabhupada. Maharaj Nanda innocently thought, perhaps this boy Krishna formerly killed all these demons, and therefore in this life they are envious and attacking him. But Krishna is fire, and they are flies. And in a fight between fire and flies, the fire is always victorious. Fighting is always taking place between the demons and the power of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya chaduskritam, Bhagavad Gita 4:8. Anyone who is against the control of the Supreme Personality of Godhead must be killed life after life. Ordinary living beings are subject to karma, but the Supreme Personality of Godhead is always victorious over the demons. Hare Krishna. Krishna mentions there's two classes of people in this world. There's the Devas and the Asuras. So there'll always be those Asuras or Daityas who are inimical towards the Lord and his devotees. So Krishna says there are always these two classes of people, so we shouldn't think that the world's going to become, we can make it a nice place, like a heavenly place to live here peacefully, because there's always these two classes of people are living here. That'll make some variety in life, you see. Because Krishna says this place is Dukkalaya, it's a temporary place. He's placed the misery, he's made it, Krishna's made it with the miseries built in. As soon as you're born, you're gasping for air. Then you want something to eat. Then all these demands are pressed on you immediately. So it's kunta, these pressures. Kunta, it's called. So these pressures are there right from the very beginning. We can't deny it. You wake up in the morning, you have a problem. Let's face it. You got to go to the bathroom. You can't get away from it. But because we're born in a problematic situation, we think problems are normal way of life. So therefore this hard struggle for existence, to combat the laws of winning the laws of material nature. How can you? You have to eat, you have to sleep, you have to defend, you have to try to enjoy. So these are forced. We're forced to do these things. Who can stop doing them? So it's troublesome in the material world. It's hard work. We're struggling. Most of it's struggle. 20 hours is struggling. And then you're sleeping, and then 4 hours you actually get for the enjoyment. But the eating, sleeping, defending, that's about 20 hours. And then the 4 hours is left for enjoyment, if you're lucky. So you can practically see, if you're a little introspective, that it is a struggle. It has a struggle for existence. But because we never heard of another life, a life free from these pressures, then we think, well, it's not so bad. You have to have there's some ups and downs, but don't be pessimistic. Keep on trying. Well, eventually, the scientists have promised us, right? The politicians have promised us. Everyone's promised, right? Little virus, invisible virus comes. Everyone's hiding behind the doors, shivering. A third of the world, right, is virus, or hiding behind locked in their houses, voluntary. And that's just a little invisible bug, invisible virus living entity. So, practical experience. So people should wake up. There's a wake-up call. It doesn't happen very often. Once in a decade or something like this, or 20 years or 100 years, sometimes big ones. So there's a wake-up, people. But when they get out, we're happy, we're free, we survived, now we can carry on enjoying. And if they want to forget, Krishna will give you all reasons to forget. So how can they? So the boys, the Brajvasis are thinking, because maybe he formerly killed these demons in previous birth, and they have that samskar. So now they want to come and kill him again. That's why so many people are trying to kill him, because maybe in his previous birth he killed them. But if you kill them in his previous birth, if someone kills you before, it's not very smart to go and take him on again, right? They've already killed you. So that's what's happening. They come into Krishna to kill him, but they all get killed. This is what they're thinking, according to the acharyas. Okay, text 57. The words of persons in full knowledge of Brahman never become untrue. It is very wonderful that whatever Garga Muni predicted, we are now actually experiencing in all detail. The purpose of human life is indicated in the Brahma Sutra, Atho Brahma Jigyasa, to make one's life perfect. In the past, present and future, one must learn about Brahman. Because of intense affection, Nanda Maharaj could not understand Krishna as he is. Garga Muni was able to know everything, past, present and future, by studying the Vedas. But Nanda Maharaj could not understand Krishna directly because of his intense love for Krishna. although Krishna is Narayan himself, Gargamuni did not disclose this. Thus Nanda Maharaj appreciated the words of Gargamuni, but because of his deep affection, he could not understand who Krishna was. Although Gargamuni had said that Krishna's qualities would be exactly like those of Narayan. So Nanda is saying that whatever Gargamuni said, is that this boy is just like Narayan. He has so many qualities he has. You have to take care of him very nicely. He's just like Narayan. He didn't say it was Narayan, but and the Prabhupada is saying how Gargamuni he's a Muni. Muni means a Jnani, sage. So their business is studying the Vedas, and they know, because that's a Ato Brahmat Gitacha, to make one's life perfect, one must inquire into the absolute truth. This is the beginning stanza of the essence of knowledge. How to distinguish spirit from matter. What is eternal, what is temporary. What is Brahman? Brahman is reality. Brahman is eternality. So what is that Brahman? What is the nature of that Brahman? So here we know that Krishna is the supreme Para-Brahman. He is the supreme personality of Brahman. Because he has impersonal features and other features of it. He has many features. Everything is the Lord. But this is the purpose of human life, because the other lower species of life, they cannot inquire. That inclination does not arise. They're just interested in, at least the moving living entities, eating, sleeping, mating, defending. But the human beings, we have this extra, endowed with extra intelligence, where you can actually ask these questions, get answers, apply the theory, and then become free from this samsara cycle of birth and death. That's only for the humans. The other lower species, they don't have this opportunity. So the human form is very rare. So therefore, now you have a human form. Now is the time to inquire into the absolute truth. Now is the time to inquire what is Brahman. So Gargamuni is self-realized sage, so he could understand Brahman. So he could understand that Krishna is Para-Brahman. He is not different from Vishnu. But he said Nanda Baba, he couldn't understand directly Krishna. Although he was seeing Para-Brahman in the Para-Brahman in his original feature, in the feature that is most dear to him, is the essence of himself, the essence of the absolute truth, that comprises the personality, the form, the body of Krishna. Ishvaraha Parama Krishna Sachit Ananda Vigraha Anarirari Govinda Savakara Karanam. Nanda Baba had this great fortune to know the essence of Brahman. But he couldn't appreciate it because of his intense love for him, for Krishna. And the idea that Krishna is my son, and he's a very young child, and I get afraid for him, that he may be harmed, although he is the supreme personality of Godhead. But he couldn't think like that because of that intense love he had for him. Then he couldn't understand of Krishna's actual potencies, power. Here the concept of God is, we have that, the concept of God, the Almighty, great. The great is the all-powerful, the omnipresent, omnipotent, creator, maintainer, destroyer. But Krishna is not that. That's Krishna doesn't operate like that. That's left to other expansions of himself. But Krishna's business, and the original feature of Krishna is just enjoying. He didn't do any work. As enjoying in relationships based in this love. So this is a relationship of Nanda Baba had. So he and that love is so great that he couldn't appreciate that, Krishna is, the Narayan. He is the controller of the universe. He's the creator of the universes. That's not very important, actually. Why you want to think of someone like that? How can you love someone like that how can you love the Vishwarup? How can you love someone who's laying on causal ocean and billions of universes are coming from? It's too far out. But here is a beautiful, so attractive little boy. So attractive. His body is soft like butter and it smells like camphor and agaro. Beautiful smell. Beautiful to see. Beautiful to hear. His talking is like little bells. Wonderful sounds. So, and very intriguing, very absorbing. So why would you want to think of anything else? But here so that love, Yogamaya, that love is preventing him from understanding Krishna. Our lust is preventing us from understanding Krishna. If we loved him, then we could appreciate him because of the lust or the self-interest that we have, then we don't. Krishna's not revealed. He's covered by Maya. So here we're covered by Mahamaya, and Nanda is covered by Yogamaya. Yogamaya assists in the relationship of love to expand that love and experience it in different nuances. And Mahamaya, she covers that love. That's her business. When Yogamaya appears as Mahamaya, she has a different function. Same person, but here she covers Krishna, and in the spiritual world she reveals Krishna's personality. So Nanda couldn't appreciate the Gargamuni, that Gargamuni could understand. He's a Trikala Gyan. He could understand this person is not different from Narayan. But Nanda couldn't do that. But then again, Garga couldn't love Krishna like Nanda loved him. He loved him with all his heart. He was more dear than his own life. You don't hear that that the love of that Gargamuni. That's not much talked about. His love. His knowledge is talked about. That he's very wise and he knows everything. And but you don't hear about much love because this love is on a different platform from. Although he's associating with Krishna, he's seeing Krishna, he's performing the name-given ceremony of Krishna, and he sees Krishna, and he sees Krishna in different expansions also. But it's not the same mood, same feelings that he has, that Nanda has, and that is because he knows the Lord's power. Garga knows the Lord's opulences. He knows, and because of that, he can't really approach him. You can't really approach someone with a just open heart and mind like that, because it's too much powerful, too much energy there for one to absorb. But that's gone to Nanda Baba, so he can completely give himself to Krishna, completely himself and absorb himself in that love of his a beautiful little boy, his own child. So he can get absorbed and lost in that love, whereas someone who understands Krishna's opulences, they don't have that. That kind of love is covered. So therefore, Mahaprabhu is recommending that the love that these Brijbasis have is the pinnacle of love of Godhead. Those we're hearing about. So Krishna's coming to show, he's come to talk, he's come to show how he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is the most wonderful feature of the Lord. That's Krishna in Vrindavan. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Nitai Gaur Premanandi. Hari Hari Gaur. Hare Krishna. Oh, Shalya Bihar. Today is Shalya Bihar. Krishna continues his cooling festivals. It means inviting the Lord to a water body, because it's hot season. So Krishna will come down to a pool, a pond, water, and then in the island, in the middle of that water, we'll have a flower bungalow, a house made of flowers, and he will sit there with Radha and enjoy cooling pastimes. Shalya Bihar. That goes on for 1 month. Right? We just had the boat festival. The Chandanyatra is still going on. All these cooling festivals to keep cool. So everyone should keep cool in this time by thinking of how Krishna arranges his pastimes to keep cool. Shalya Bihar. Hare Krishna.